He was born in a one-room log cabin. No money, no connections, no Ivy League degree. But Abraham Lincoln rose to become one of the most powerful and influential men in American history. Now ask yourself, what if Lincoln lived today? Would he have been a billionaire? The answer lies in how he thought, not how much he had. This isn't a history lesson, this is a blueprint. Here are 5 billionaire lessons from the 16th president himself, Abraham Lincoln. Lesson 1. Play the long game. Lincoln didn't chase short-term wins. He wasn't looking for applause, he was building a legacy. He ran for office and lost. Not once, not twice, but several times. Most people would have given up. But Lincoln? He doubled down. He refined his strategy, stayed focused, and played the long game. That's billionaire thinking. Wealthy people don't obsess over what happens this week. They think in 5, 10, 20-year arcs. They understand that true value compounds with time, patience, and persistence. Jeff Bezos said, "If everything you do needs to work on a 3-year time horizon, you're competing against a lot of people. But if you're willing to invest on a 7 to 10-year timeline, you're now competing against a fraction." That's not just business, it's mindset. Lincoln understood that failure wasn't the end, it was feedback. Every loss taught him something. Every setback sharpened his edge. He didn't measure success by short-term wins, but by long-term impact. Billionaires don't win because they're faster. They win because they're still in the race when everyone else has quit. Lincoln was willing to lose to win big. That's not just leadership, that's legacy wealth logic. Lesson 2. Be obsessed with learning. Lincoln had less than a year of formal schooling. He didn't grow up with elite tutors or access to fancy libraries, but what he did have was a fire to learn, and that fire never went out. He taught himself law. He studied philosophy, debate, economics, and politics, using whatever books he could find. He would walk for miles just to borrow a book, and when he had it, he devoured it. That's the mindset of the self-made. Compare that to modern billionaires. Warren Buffett reads 5 to 6 hours a day. Elon Musk learned rocket science through reading and asking questions. Mark Cuban says he reads 3 hours daily to gain an edge. In every case, wealth didn't come first, wisdom did. Lincoln proves you don't need a degree to build an empire. You need curiosity, consistency, and humility to know that you don't know everything and to chase knowledge like it's treasure. In today's world, there's no excuse. You have podcasts, online courses, YouTube, AI tools, libraries in your pocket. If Lincoln could learn under candlelight, what's stopping you? Because here's the truth. Wealth starts with wisdom. Not inheritance, not luck. But self-education, self-discipline, and a relentless hunger to grow. Lincoln never stopped learning. Neither should you. Lesson 3. Master the power of words. Lincoln didn't build his empire with factories, stocks, or tech. He built it with words. Carefully chosen, powerfully delivered. The Gettysburg Address? Just 272 words. Yet it redefined the purpose of the Civil War and reshaped the national identity. That's not just speechwriting, that's strategic influence. He understood something billionaires understand too. Before people buy into your product, they buy into your story. Steve Jobs didn't sell computers, he sold a revolution in thinking. Oprah didn't just talk. She connected emotionally with millions and made communication her currency. Richard Branson used bold storytelling and personality to turn Virgin into a global brand. In business, persuasion is profit. Words are tools. But in the right hands, they become weapons of mass influence. Lincoln used storytelling to turn political enemies into allies. He used metaphors to simplify complex issues. He spoke like a leader who could connect, not just command. Today, social media is your pulpit. Podcasts, captions, reels, they're all platforms for storytelling. If you can articulate value, share a vision, and inspire trust, you're already building wealth. Lincoln didn't have a brand logo or a TikTok, but he had the one thing that never goes out of style: clarity, authenticity, and command of language. Words move people, and people move markets. Master them, and you'll never be broke another day in your life. Lesson 4. Think like an owner, not a follower. Lincoln didn't rise to power by following the crowd. He rose by challenging the status quo. He didn't just want to manage the system, he wanted to reshape it. When he took a stand against slavery, it wasn't popular, it wasn't safe, and it definitely wasn't convenient, but it was visionary. That's what owners do. They see what's broken and build something better. Billionaires today think the same way. Richard Branson didn't just fly planes, he created a new kind of airline with Virgin. Rihanna didn't just model beauty standards, she redefined them with Fenty. Tyler Perry didn't wait for a seat at the Hollywood table. He built his own studio from the ground up. Owners create, followers wait. Lincoln operated with a founder's mindset. He thought structurally, long-term, and big picture. While others debated whether the Union could survive, he asked how to rebuild it stronger. That's what wealth creators do. They don't settle for playing the game, they recode it. Whether you're building a business, a brand, or your personal platform, the mindset shift is key. Stop asking, who will give me a chance? And start asking, how do I create the opportunity myself? Lincoln didn't inherit power. He claimed it, by thinking like an architect of the future, not a manager of the moment. And in today's economy, that kind of thinking doesn't just lead to influence, it leads to ownership, equity, generational wealth. Lesson 5. Resilience over everything. Lincoln faced crippling depression. He failed in business. He lost his first love. He lost multiple elections. He even lost a child while in the White House. And on top of all that, he led a country tearing itself apart. But here's what made Lincoln different. He kept showing up. Day after day, speech after speech, decision after decision. Even when the pressure could have crushed him, he leaned in harder. That's billionaire DNA. Every billionaire you know has a rock-bottom story.
People gather in the streets.
Howard Schultz grew up in public housing and was rejected by over 200 investors before Starbucks took off. Sarah Blakely sold fax machines door to door while building Spanx at night. Damon John was sewing shirts in his mom's house before launching FUBU. Resilience isn't just about survival, it's about strategy. It's the ability to stand tall while others fold, to learn from loss, to build while bleeding, to keep moving when the path isn't clear. Lincoln didn't have the luxury of waiting for ideal conditions. Neither do you. Success doesn't come to those who wait, it comes to those who withstand. In the wealth building game, talent matters, strategy matters, but without resilience, it all collapses the moment things get hard. Lincoln's true superpower wasn't leadership, it was emotional endurance. He took the hits, stood back up, and kept leading forward. That's not just greatness, that's the mindset that builds empires. In closing, Abraham Lincoln never touched a billion-dollar bank account. But if he were alive today, he'd be on the Forbes list, easily. Not because of money, but because of mindset. He played the long game. He never stopped learning. He mastered communication. He thought like an owner. And he kept getting up, no matter what hit him. That is how billionaires are built. And that's how legacies last. You don't need Lincoln's era, you just need his mindset.